It's okay to learn from screen captures, but even better to put a face with the instruction. Grab one of our blue-shirted X-Train people, and they'll tell you all the benefits of training with an instructor who looks you in the eye.
So we're back. We're talking about social media and how social media can help you with your online marketing initiatives. And we've moved into a class now where we're talking about audio. And there's a few different ways that we can use audio when we're talking about social media and marketing. The first one we want to talk about is going to be audio streaming or online radio. There's nothing particular new about internet radio when it comes to the internet, and on its surface it would seem that internet radio is not necessarily a social media platform. If you thought about internet radio a few years back, then in most cases it wasn't. The reason why I bring it up is because most internet radio stations now and internet radio websites have a lot of social media aspects to them, and you also find that in most cases the listener base will cross over real nicely between social media and internet radio. In a lot of cases, internet radio is doing a lot to take market share away from terrestrial radio. So it's something we do want to pay attention to. It is something that is, at a minimum, a great user base and a great target audience if you've got, products or services that you want to particularly push towards a younger age audience. So let's talk a little bit about some of the details of internet radio. Basically, all we're talking about here is broadcasting that's transmitted through the internet via a streaming or a continuous audio stream. One of the differentiators here between some of the other stuff we're going to talk about is the fact that internet radio, much like satellite or much like terrestrial radio, doesn't allow the user control to, say, fast forward or stop or listen to a song anytime they want to, or a program. It's the same as any other radio station you might have at your home or in your car, where you essentially select the station and whatever's on is what you're going to listen to. That's what you get. Now, there are streaming audio websites and stations available on the internet where you can select songs or you can mix your own music. That's a little bit different than what we're talking about here, and for the most part the tactics that we're going to look at are going to cross over to all these nicely, but we want to know from a marketing perspective what we're targeting, and it's important to know what some of these details are because it could have an impact on your marketing plans. So let's talk about the users a little bit, and then we'll visit a couple of internet radio sites. 40% of the U.S. population, this is very interesting, 40% of the U.S. population that's on the internet listens to internet audio. And that can include podcasts, it can include all kinds of different audio programs, but it's a huge part of the user base on the internet. Your breakdown is basically 73% of 18 to 34-year-olds that are on the internet are listening to audio or radio on the net, 67% of 35 to 54-year-olds, and 53% of 54 and over are listening to audio on the internet. So when you break down that 2 billion people around the world that are on the internet, and you break down the huge percentage of the U.S. population that's on the internet, you're talking about a large part of the audience that is going to this site. So this is one place where you've got these different people from different channels crossing in to partake in this one service that is going to have a lot broader appeal than if you're going towards, say, a social network that's geared toward, mommy blogs, or you're focusing on sports or something like that. So if you've got a product or a service that has wider appeal, internet audio may be something you might want to look at when it comes to advertising, or when it comes to using some social networking tactics. As far as males and females, 73% of males in the United States that are on the internet listen to audio, and over 50% of females do. Let's go over and look at a couple of sites. I've got a screenshot here of Webmaster Radio. Now, Webmaster Radio is a website that caters towards high-tech marketing, I guess, is the genre they focus on. They've been around for a while, and they've got over a dozen shows that they produce themselves. Now, there's a lot of different opportunities on Webmaster Radio, and they span different genres in internet audio. They do live streaming, just like I mentioned, but they also make their shows available via download for podcasts and different file formats. So if you come to Webmaster Radio, you're going to see that obviously on the website itself, they make advertising available in several different spots. They've got large banner ads going across the top of the page. They've got smaller badges on the side. And then they also offer opportunities to do promos before and after shows and even during shows. They have several shows that are over an hour long. Most of them are about a half an hour. And typically what they'll do is start the show off. They'll do a couple of internal ads promoting other shows, so they do some cross-promotion. And then they'll have one spot typically for an advertiser at the beginning. They'll have one or two spots at about the 12 to 15 mark point in the middle of a show, and then they'll drop one at the very end. So you've typically got 4 opportunities for these shows to be able to put audio ads inside of them. So when you're thinking about a model, when it comes to streaming audio on the net, it's very similar to radio, except that I would assume the business practices are much different than they are in radio. So Webmaster Radio is one place to go to. The website, and most websites that you're going to see in this genre are going to have the ability to contact folks on the show and things of that nature. A couple of other ones I want to point out to you really quick. Live 365 is a website that does more syndication of other shows. They've got some original content, but they also syndicate stuff. And as you see on the front, we've got an ad for TiVo again. We've got an ad for AT&T there off to the right. So there's opportunities here on the site. And then they, as well, you log in and you can create a profile. And they have a lot of social networking features and functionality on the site. So you can come through here also and start a community or participate in existing communities. And if you have a product or service that's relevant, you can focus in on a specific group of folks. Say you've got fans of a particular artist, then you can integrate yourself into that community and see what you can do to add value to them, and then possibly sell some services or products to the folks within that community when the time is right and if you find that it's appropriate. And then there's all kinds of sites like this that are just these are just raw content syndication sites that are just going out there and grabbing streams and content and pushing them out there. Radio Tower is a site that, sight unseen, and I haven't done any background, so I don't know what kind of traffic they get. But there's a lot of low-hanging fruit, or in search marketing, what we call the long tail, that you could probably go out there and get advertising spots on some of these individual shows or through these streams at a pretty inexpensive price.